Hey, welcome back. It's Mr. Burns again. Today, it's going to be a little different because this is homework tonight for the next class. So you're not doing this in class necessarily, unless maybe you were absent, potentially. But what you have out in front of you is number 5, which is the document right here. It's the characteristics of the U.S. economy. And you're going to fill this out as I go through this Prezi. All right, this Prezi. Hope you're comfortable because this is a good one. So get comfortable, get ready, get a pencil out, get something to write with and write on. And here we go. Characteristics of the U.S. economy. All right. Oh. All right, here we go. All right, so let's look at how the U.S. economy is structured. First of all, the U.S. economy, while it seems to operate as a free market, it's not. It's a mixed economy. So what's in red is what you have to fill into your Cornell notes. On number 5. So it's a mixed economy. The government is involved in our economy and regulating and making sure that business is functioning properly and not doing anything that it should not do. There's certain regulations that the government sets forth in our country. So, I'll keep hitting the wrong button. All right, here we go. So it has some aspects of a command economy and some aspects of a traditional economy, even. Those that where you follow kind of in your ancestors' footsteps, command economy where the government is in control. So it has aspects of that and the free market as well. So therefore, it makes it a mixed economy, which most economies are. All right, moving on to the second bullet at the top. Remember market as a review. This is one of our vocab words, probably the most important one. Wherever buyers and sellers exchange goods and services, that's a market. In the U.S., we have that idea of markets, but the businesses, individuals, and the government all share in economic decision-making. So again, mixed economy. And I love that picture of Barack looking so salty. So great. All right. Next, we have cost-benefit analysis. So let's look here. When is the government going to get involved in the economic flow of our country? Well, when the government intervention outweighs the benefits outweigh the costs. So about a decade ago, when President Obama took office, a little less than a decade ago, the motor vehicle industries, Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, etc., General Motors, right? They were struggling. So the government bailed them out, got involved. In order for those companies to not go under, it was very important to keep all those people working. So the government provided loans to the businesses so that they could get their debt paid off and get their feet under them and improve their cost of production, etc. Next thing you know, they are hiring more workers. They are making decisions to limit the amount of vehicles that are sold. They were kind of stretched too thin, so they kind of became more efficient, more specialized. They improved. They kind of made a recovery, and then they paid back the government, and it worked out. So that's the third bullet top. All right, now we're going to do the 6 details that you need to know. But first, so that was the example that I just mentioned. So what might be an example? The bailout of the automobile industry. That's a good example. Can you think of any others when the government gets involved in business? Maybe with real estate, mortgages, right? Making sure that people are qualified for their mortgages. Okay, that's another example. All right, let's look at number 1, which is profit motive. So write that in space number 1, profit motive. And profit is after all expenses have been paid, after all debts have been paid, loans have been paid. It's what the owner of the business has left. And of course, these expenses that they have to pay also includes paying their employees, paying insurance, etc. So that's the profit. That's the motivation to start a business. You can make all this profit, and then that's your money to do whatever you want with. So in the United States economy, we have the opportunity to create businesses. You can do any of those 3 business types that we're going to talk about today of your vocab words. And we're going to talk about being an entrepreneur next class as well. All right. So what are some decisions businesses and entrepreneurs must make when considering how to use their profits? Are they just going to pocket all the money? Are they going to provide bonuses to their employees as motivational factors for better quality service, for better quality products, for better quality workers? Are they going to reinvest it into the business, into the technology, into the infrastructure? Are they going to make additional contracts with other companies to better their product? What are they going to do? Okay. All right. So the second one, number 2, consumer sovereignty. And sovereignty was one of your vocab words. Consumers ultimately determine what goods and services will be produced through their purchases. If they like it, they will buy it. If they buy it, businesses will make it. If they demand it, businesses will make it. If there's no demand for a product, you think it's a great idea, but no one else does, there's no market for it. All right, number 3 is competition. So competition, again, a rivalry between producers or sellers of a good or service in order to do 2 things. 1, produce better quality goods. That's what competition leads to, better quality goods and services at lower prices. Because they're competing against each other, they want you to buy it, they're going to make the product better, and they're going to lower the price so that you can afford it. If there's no competition, prices go up, quality goes down. Okay. So again, better quality products, lower prices. If there is no competition, think about a communist nation that everything is run by the government. They don't have to make the products as nice. They don't have to offer you all these shiny colors and all these features. There's no competition, so they don't have to. All right, number 4, private property. Okay, we do have the right to own property in the United States economy, as well as the means of production, as well as those resources that we've talked about in our basic concepts. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple lessons. The government cannot interfere unless, of course, you are breaking laws, breaking regulations, etc. The government has a structure for defining and enforcing these property rules. If you own a business, there's certain things you can and cannot do on your private property. Okay? All right, recharge for the next slide. Here we go. We have the free enterprise, which is free market, which is that idea that the United States, you are allowed to start a business. Markets do operate without government interference. The government involvement is limited. It's there. There's regulations in place. But the government isn't telling business exactly what to do, what to make, what to produce, what price to sell it at. That's done by the market, by consumers, by consumer sovereignty, okay, by demand. These things are, and supply and demand, right? These things are what's controlling the markets, not the government. The government's just setting regulations, putting limits on there, making sure businesses are doing X, Y, and Z to make sure that they are running, providing rights to their workers and things of that nature. But most decisions are made in the private sector. All right, number 6, we got price. Supply and demand is what ultimately determines price, and where they interact, that's called the equilibrium price. That's kind of that agreement between buyers and sellers as to what the price should be based on how much people are demanding and how much sellers are willing to make and sell at that price. So that's price. It's that exchange of, you exchange money, right? You exchange money for a service or a good. And then looking over here, this is our demand curve, right? If price is high, so look up here, if price is high, demand is going to be low. You can see that it's low, right? If price is low, demand is going to be high. However, as a business person, you don't want to sell things at a lower price. You want to sell things at a higher price. You want people to buy things up here. So when you put something on sale and you lower the price down the blue line, you also lower how much you're going to put on the shelves or how much you're willing to sell at that price. Okay? So that's why Black Friday sales are limited, right? Okay, we're going to sell this 75-inch flat screen TV normally at $1,000 for $500. but we're only going to sell it to the first 5 people in the store that come and buy it. After that, the sale's over. They're limiting the supply. They're lowering the price, but they're limiting the supply. And of course, demand's going to go up as price goes down, but then businesses won't make as much money. So that's why we have this fluctuating equilibrium price, which moves left and right, up and down, all right, depending on what the market says, the demand says, and the supply says. All right. That's all we got. Okay, be ready. Next class, we're going to, when you come in next class, after you can review this for a couple minutes, but then we're going to do a graded Google Draw sort. That's going to talk about these 6 concepts, and it's going to have some examples and some definitions. So make sure you understand them. All right. Signing off. Adios.